You are listening to 1252 Sports Entertainment. Parental discretion may be advised.
Woo! It's about that time. FatMike, Chicago Sports. Yeah. Finally here. Shot City Sports is right here. Updates on news, get it here. No rumors, cause we keep it real. FatMike. Sit back, relax, sugar beer one of them nights.
Hey, this is Carmen DeFalco from ESPN Chicago, and you're listening to the Fat Mike Sports Show.
Hey, this is Dave Richard from CBS Sports, and you're listening to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
Hi, this is Jesse Rogers from the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Merkin, the longtime White Sox beat writer for MLB.com and proud graduate of the University of Michigan. You're listening to me on the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
This is Chuck Arfine, and you are listening to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. It's the best.
Hey, what's up? This is Greg Braggs Jr. from Braggs in the Stands, and you're listening to my guys on the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. Boom!
Hey everyone, Fred Huebner from ESPN 1000. Great to be on the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. I'm Dan Zaborski, senior writer for Fangraphs, and you're listening to Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
I'm JJ Stankovitz from NBCSportsChicago.com and the Undercenter podcast, and you're listening to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show.
Hey Sparkle, you know what I listen to? It's the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show with my guy, Fat Mike. If you listen anywhere else, no jock. Listen to Fat Mike. The best.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. I am Fat Mike Chicago, and with me, as always, this way, wrong way, this way is my heterosexual life mate, Angelo Ace Camacho. Angelo, how are we doing, bud? It's been a long day.
I should ask you, more importantly, how you're doing. You've had yourself a stressful day today, huh?
Yes, but it was a good day, man. Earlier this morning, you and I had a really great interview with Devin Hester. I'm going to apologize ahead of time because I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's my computer. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. We are still going to air it. It may be a little choppy and a little bit shitty on this, but I promise you that it'll be better on the downloadable version for those of you who are waiting for that interview. It's going to be coming up here as soon as we get done with Pat Boyle and everything like that. We got a big show for you guys tonight.
Yeah,
we got Pat Boyle, NBC Sports Chicago, some Blackhawks talk. He does their pre, post, and intermission break. And he also does the hockey show on ESPN 1000 on Saturday morning, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And then we got, like I said, we had Devin Hester this morning, which was awesome. Angelo, you played hooky from work about a half a day to make sure that this went through. I played hooky from work all day.
I fangirled out a little bit. Hey, let's be real. To Chicago sports fans, man, Devin Hester is somebody who gave you hope through the early 2000s, right? Late Definitely. 2000s. He was one of my favorite players on that 2006 team. It was kind of like a dream for me. So I think we handled ourselves really well during that interview, though.
We fangirled out. We were
a little bit
dorky.
We
were dorks. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that we were, completely fangirl cheerleaders, but I mean, I kind of was. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I kind of were. I'm sitting there texting you, like, dude, I'm freaking the fuck out, bro.
Yeah.
And like, that's the truth, man. It's like, it's the first time in a long time that I've gotten, really not excited, but really like almost shell shocked of a guest. You know what I mean?
As you should be. The dude's a future Hall of Famer. Like,
I'd be the same way if I had like Sammy Sosa or Albert Pujols on Kerry Wood. You know what I mean? I'd be freaking out too.
Kerry Wood would be pretty sweet to
Kerry Wood, Patrick Kane would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but good.
It was. Once we got everything squared away when we started the interview, it went real smooth, and hopefully, it translates well here tonight. Otherwise, you're gonna have to.
Otherwise, I'm just gonna
go to YouTube and yeah, he's gonna start his house on fire. So let's not have that happen. You're gonna have to go to YouTube and watch it on the uploaded version
with the dogs inside, with the fiance inside. I'll find kids to put in here too. I'll set it all on fire. I don't care at this point. That's how bad my day's been going. But I mean, it's all right though, man. Like I said, it was really awesome. Like I said, the Devin Hester interview was absolutely fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. But
hell yeah, man. It was a good interview.
Yeah, we got other stuff to talk about here, man. We got the Hawks coming up. Like I said, we got Pat Boyle coming on. We got Cubs and Sox to talk about. I hope we can touch on that a little bit here.
Why would you want to talk about the Cubs?
Man, I tell you what, one thing that's been very surprising, though, and Angelo, I mean, remember we said this at the beginning of the year. The one thing that I was absolutely concerned about with this Cubs team was the fact that I didn't think that they had a legit pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, Jake Arrieta, Kyle Hendricks. Yeah, I mean, those guys are – I mean, Kyle Hendricks, in my opinion, in my professional sports eye, is not a number one pitcher. And I'm a diehard Cub fan, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't think he has what it takes to match zeros against the big dogs in the NL.
I don't disagree.
He's been doing it. He's proven me wrong. So it's time for me to eat some cake on this one, eat some crow on this one. I got to shut my mouth on it already because I'm wrong. Okay, and Jake Arrieta. I am. Today again. Kyle Hendricks goes 6 innings, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and the bullpen coughs it up. So it's not his fault that he lost that game. And then we had Williams the other day. I want to say his first name is Trevor Williams, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
Trevor Williams, his dad's a longtime Cub pitcher, goes perfect through 5. Okay, I mean, just straight dealing out there in a W for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Jake Arrieta has somehow found the fountain of youth with this Cubs team, and he's pitching like Jake Arrieta 2016.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do we got going on here? You know what I mean?
That's
like,
what the kids say.
What is this Cubs team? I'm a little nervous about this. Angelo, what do you think the Cubs team is?
Inconsistent. Broken. What are all the words we've used since 2017? Because the same, that's probably the best word to use, the same. This team hasn't changed since 2017. In 2017, the bats weren't going. All you heard was, oh, well, they won the World Series in 2016. It's just a hangover season. And then it was the hitting coach's fault. And then it was Joe Madden. And then Ross was going to be – it's been a problem every single year. It was even a problem in the 2016 playoffs where the bats would just go cold for games.
Right.
This team just cannot hit. I don't know what it is.
Right. That's
but
what I
they
was
just
gonna
don't
say.
hit.
That's what you're kind of leaning towards, that they don't hit. And I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, man. This team, I'm going to try and keep this show clean, guys. I'm trying not to swear as much anymore.
He is. He's trying to be
I'm trying to
model
be
citizen.
I'm trying to be respectable, and I promised myself that I wouldn't start drinking until showtime on Wednesdays. So, I mean, you're going to get sober, Mike, for a while. So you guys I hope you guys are okay with that. But, no, like, you're right, though, Angelo. I mean, they don't hit. They do not hit. Last night's game, one hit. One hit. They have 26 hits on the year.
Yeah.
And that's not going to get it done, man. It's not going to get it done. This team is relying way too much on boom or bust. And I'm so sick of that old adage of boom and bust. That's Joey Gallo. That's exactly what that is. That's Joey Gallo, a guy who can't bat his body weight, but hits 40 homers a year and 80 RBIs, 90 RBIs. How much does that actually help you? Because he's the only guy that's doing it, and he's not doing it in the clutch situations where you need him to do it. And that's exactly what this Cubs team is from 1 to 9 or 1 through 8. All right, now they did do some. They did. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. I'm good.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you got all these guys, and we've constantly talked about the name on the back of the baseball card, right? Bryant, Rizzo, Baez. All these guys, nobody is producing right now. Nobody. It's just
right.
And then you look at the other side of town, right? And you got the White Sox who are just raking right now. It's
right.
It really, I'm envious of the White Sox right now.
Yeah, I mean, and so am I. This White Sox team is a very good team. I mean, we're in the same mess that we've been in for the last 4 years with the Cubs, where, like you said, Angelo, it's either they hit 9 hits, it's either they get 18 hits one game or 2 the next. All right, and with the White Sox are building this team to start from scratch again. And again, I said it the other night, everybody laughed at me, but Adam Eaton's been on a tear. All right, I told you that. I told everybody that guy's a firecracker. You guys are going to like what you see out of him. And he does the job. He gets up there, smacks a 2-run homer, gets everything going. And he's a good player to have on your team. All right, now it does hurt that Tim Anderson's out a little bit. That does hurt tremendously. But he's going to come back. But then they got this heavy set catcher. The guy looks like me out there swinging the bat. He's like, what, 9 hits in his first 4 games or something like that, Angelo?
Yeah, he's
the guy's absolutely killing it. I don't know what's going on with this guy.
I forget his name. I'm not a White Sox fan, so I don't really pay attention to them too much.
I forget his last name. I think
it's like Mercedes. No, it's not Mercedes.
Yeah, I think it is Mercedes.
It might
Mercedes.
Be, right? I think it
Mercedes.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cruising. He's cruising like a Mercedes.
He is. And that's the thing. That's what you wish the Cubs were able to do, right? Where when one guy isn't able to perform or one guy's hurt, you got somebody who's going to come in and step up in that spot. And the Cubs don't have that. It's like you said earlier, it's been boom or bust since 2016. That's what they relied on in the World Series. That's what they relied on through all that playoff push in 2016. It's been, really, if you think about it, it went back to 2014, 2015 in the playoffs also. This team just cannot hit in clutch moments. And I think, seriously, we as fans need to sit back and look at, okay, I love Anthony Rizzo, right? I love Chris Bryant. I love Javi Baez, but it might be time. I'd rather watch this team struggle like they're doing now with those guys not on the team than watch this team struggle constantly.
Right. And really quick, guys, we're going to bounce out really quick. We're having some technical issues. I'm going to go back to the original Wi-Fi here and see what the hell's going on here. And Angela, let's bounce out really quick before we bring Pat on, okay? If you want to stay, go right ahead. I'll be right back.
No,
Continue talking. All right, and sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on here with my internet connection. It sucks. But I am back. Sorry about that quick little pause.
That's right. Pause. It was good advertisement for the Sport Court.
Yeah, that little advertisement was brought to you by Sport Court. Complete silence.
Sometimes it's good to have silence.
Right, yeah.
Eases the mind, gets you mellow. I don't know. I think you need to call, who's your service provider? Xfinity?
AT&T. No, AT&T.
You need to call them and be like, yo, get my shit together.
These
I got business to handle.
You, man,
we're not swearing tonight, Mike. We're not swearing tonight.
Now you got me on the topic of AT&T, and I hate them. I hate them more than I hate the Astros and the Cardinals. I hate them more than I hate fucking New York sports teams. That's the level of hatred that I have for DirecTV. I can't stand it.
I had DirecTV once, and it was awful. It was one of the worst experiences of my life.
The entire reason I have DirecTV
NFL Sunday Ticket
is the NFL Sunday Ticket. Yep. And now they were the first ones to have the Marquee Network. Well, I could totally live without the Marquee Network.
Yeah, because they don't even play the Cubs half the time.
I'm watching tennis matches from 1964 and fucking people that I don't know that are probably dead already. All right. let me tell you something. Those guys ain't playing tennis now. They're dead. Those guys are dead.
Dead tennis? That sounds pretty legit, though.
Dead tennis?
Zombie tennis? Where is this show going right now?
I don't know.
It's anarchy.
It's anarchy. We're still waiting on Pat Boyle. But no. But, we were talking about here the Cubs and Sox, man. The Sox are built for the long haul. That's no mistake. There's no secret behind that. We see it here. All right, the one thing I will say about this, Yasmani Grandal fucking blows.
Oh, yeah. I get your text messages all the time. It's always.
He knows how to frame a pitch.
If you guys follow Mike on Twitter, you will know exactly how much he does not like Grandal. It's it's not hidden. Or New York sports teams.
This dude, I'm not even joking you, man. He may know how to frame a pitch, and that's all fine and fucking dandy. But he knows how to frame a pitch only if it's like directly at his face. Otherwise, it's a risk to go to the goddamn backstop with this guy. That's how terrible he is. And
would you say that that's one of their weakest points right now?
Yes, definitely, hands down. Definitely hands down is the catching position with the Chicago White Sox. That is definitely one of their weak spots.
That might be the only weak spot right now on that team.
Well,
maybe that's a little exaggerating, but like that's the only glaring weakness I see at this moment.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, they could use. I mean, it's still a team that's built on DHs, man. They still got Eloy. They still got
Well, they don't have Eloy.
Yeah. Now Eloy's he's got a torn titty, but he's good to go. He'll be ready to rock come playoff time.
Hopefully,
right. He'll be ready. He'll be ready
if they make the playoffs.
Exactly. And speaking of playoffs, we've got a team that's kind of in the hunt here in Chicago. They've been fighting back and forth, Angelo. This Blackhawk team, they're doing it with the youth, man.
Yep.
They're doing it with the youth, baby. And our guy's coming out here not only to talk some puck, but he also hit me up late last night. He also wants to talk a little bit of Devin Hester with us before we bring Hester on. So let's bring him on. Our guy, Pat Boyle. Let's see. Pat, what's going on, man?
How you guys doing today?
We're having fun, man. Right now, we just got done talking Cubs and Sox, and I'm aggravated with StreamYard.
Yeah, Mike's having himself a rough day today.
And AT&T sucks for some reason, for all the reasons above. And then what else is wrong with me? Oh,
the Cubs can't hit.
The Cubs can't hit, and Yasmani Grandal sucks, in my opinion. That's what we got going.
Yeah, the baseball season's off to a little bit of a rough start on both sides of town.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what's looking better than what we all thought is this Chicago Blackhawks team.
Yes.
Going into this season, we definitely, me personally, I did not think that they were going to be as competitive as they have been. What do you think has kind of stood out and helped this team get to this point right now where they're at?
Well, it's been the young guys, right? I mean, I thought this was going to be a death march, Angelo. I thought this was going to be the type of year that broadcasters just go, how are we going to talk about this for another 45 minutes on the post-game show after they lose their 10th in a row? Anytime you hear an organization go, we're admitting that they're going with a youth movement and they're going to play young kids, you're usually thinking that's going to be a long season. So it's been those surprise finds. Kevin Lankin, and we'll start with him in net. He was the third guy to even get an opportunity. And right now, he looks like he's a legit starter in the National Hockey League as far as goaltending. You look at Pius Suter. You look at Philip Kurashev, Brandon Hagel. These are guys we knew very little about. Some of them we didn't even know their names. And these guys have been installing the work ethic that Jeremy Colleton thrives on. It's a relentless approach. It's outwork the other team. They're not going to outskill them like they did in 10, 2013, and 15. The only guys that are going to outskill them are Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. The rest of it is a blue-collar approach. And so far, there were 16 games left, and they're 2 points out of the fourth and final playoff spot in the Central.
And a couple of weeks ago, we had a back-to-back with the Nashville Predators. And the Predators beat us both games there, Pat. And it was kind of a rough go here because the Predators overtook us in the standings. And since then, they've been kind of pushing ahead a little bit, just kind of keeping the Hawks at bay a little bit. When the Hawks lose, they seem to win. They seem to just be getting that one extra point. Where can the Hawks make up some ground here? I mean, obviously, with this young talent that they have, and Kucherov, Doc, and DeBrincat, and Kane, they got a young group. But what does this team have to do to succeed to actually make a solid playoff push?
Well, you mentioned that Nashville, those back-to-back games a couple weeks ago. I thought that was one of their most disappointing stretches of this season. I understand not having your game one night. I thought Sunday they would respond, and they got absolutely shellacked. So that was – and honestly, Nashville's had their number since like 2016. It's been different coaches, some different players. They play a boring – clog the neutral zone style. They look to capitalize on your mistakes. And for whatever reason, this team doesn't stack up well against it. They still got a couple games with Nashville left. Look, I think the playoffs have already started. I mean, there's like 3 teams with plus the Blackhawks that are vying for this 4 seed. And that's about it. And right now they've got the second game against Dallas. Then they've got 2 against Columbus and 2 against Detroit. Those are the only other 2 teams that they have winning records against. So they got to capitalize on Columbus and on Detroit, even though I don't think there's going to be any gimmies down the stretch. Detroit is playing better. I think Dallas is going to give the Hawks everything they can handle on Thursday night. So they have to play 570 hockey the rest of the way. They need to win of the final 16, probably 9 of those games or 8 of those games, and sneak a couple and have a couple overtime or shootout losses. And I think they'd be in good shape.
As it sits right now, do you think that they will squeak into the playoffs?
I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be. It was good to see Patrick Kane get on the score sheet yesterday. Going into yesterday's game, he only had 2 goals in his last 16. He's third in the league.
He was on a little dry streak there. Right?
Yeah, I mean he's got assists. He's third in the league in points. But that for him, that's a significant skid. So it was good. It sucked to see that one taken off the board early on. You thought like. I told the guys on ESPN 1000, I said, they were like looking for a bet. I said, I'd bet Kane to score any time because Dallas is the team he's scored the most goals against, and you don't leave him off the score sheet for too long. And a minute 5 into the game, he scores. They take it off the board because Doc was clearly offsides. But he got the cheapy empty netter at the end. The hockey gods even things out for him. It's been fun to watch him, dude. You guys, I don't know, do you think Chicago appreciates what Patrick Kane has brought the last 14 years?
Oh, my goodness. I know for a fact I'm a big hockey nut, man. I love watching puck. I mean, I played puck growing up all throughout 4 years old on. My brother Brett used to take me out on the ponds back in the woods, driving a truck back there. Before wrestling practice, I'm skating. After wrestling practice, I'm going back to hockey practice. I mean, it was the first 8 hours of my day in the winter. But yeah, Patrick Kane, I appreciate every single thing that man has done for Chicago, hands down. He is unbelievable. But that being said, I mean, you can't get rid of him, can you?
No. He's the one guy you're keeping. Here's why. Because he's actually gotten better since they won their last cup. He won the MVP in 2016. He had his most points 2 years ago. He's on a record pace right now, or was a couple of weeks ago, obviously with the 56-game schedule. So, he's not going to reach any milestones this year, but he's getting better. And I've talked to his trainers. The commitment he has taken, both from a nutritional standpoint and getting better in the off season, and he's got this unbelievable trainer that now guys like Austin Matthews are coming from Toronto to Chicago to train with this guy. DeBrincat has been working out with him. Doc worked out with him before he went to the bubble last year. You saw how Doc improved. So I honestly think he could play till he's 39, 40, 41 if he wanted to.
And Pat, that was one of my questions, is how influential has Patrick Kane been on this young core? Because, Jonathan Toews hasn't been there this season. If you follow the Hawks, you kind of were like, well, they might look to trade these 2 guys. And now Patrick Kane has kind of stepped up and taken that captain spot.
Yes, I totally agree. I was leery in the summer. I don't know if you guys remember, Scott Lazarus had the story when Toews went to The Athletic and said, like, hey, whoa, nobody told me about a rebuild. That was right after they just kind of announced that they weren't going to re-sign Corey Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a Zoom meeting that had Duncan Keith, Seabrook, Taves, and Kane on it with Colleton, Stan Bowman, and ownership. And it was kind of like, all right, guys, this is our plan. This is where we're going. Do you buy in? And I thought, I was a little leery how that was going to work out. Like, I didn't know how Duncan Keith would respond to kind of a rebuild in this, the 16th hole of his career. But Patrick hasn't really surprised me because at the end of the day, the guy just loves to play the game. I've never seen a player have both the talent and the drive this late in their career. 14 years in, he's still the hockey nerd, still talking about the highlight reel goals that he watched the other night. He's extremely motivated. So it doesn't surprise me that the young guys have, looked to him and to Duncan Keith and that he's carried them along. That really hasn't surprised me too much. It surprised me how they accepted the rebuild. And I also think that they were surprised like we were. I mean, we all thought this was going to be a lost season. And they get 20 games in and they look around and they're like, all right, this is working. I think winning that series that seemed meaningless against Edmonton last year in the bubble, I think that was good in a way because I think that gave Colleton some legitimacy. I think you could look and wonder, like, is this system really working? Are the old guys really going to buy into somebody who, is younger than them in Duncan's case or Seabrook's case? I think that was a huge confidence boost for Colleton and to the guys in that room that his approach actually works. So then they take that, bring it one step forward, bring in the youth movement, and we've had a surprise year. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if they move like a Matthias Janmark or a Carl Soderberg at the trade deadline. And I still think they realize they're fighting for the 4th spot, but the gap between the top 3 teams in the division and the 4th seed is huge. So they have their eye on the long game, not the short.
You kind of brought it up, like how Patrick Kane has just been unbelievable, and being 32 years old, he still has the excitement for the game. And the one thing when you said that sparked something in me was he's not a Rob Brind'Amour 32. He's not an Eric Lindros 32. He's not a Peter Forsberg 32, a Joe Sakic 32. He's a 32 with still some youth and some fun still left in the game. He's not that – I don't want to say he's not a veteran because he is a veteran of the game. But he, like you said, he's still having fun doing it and having a lot of fun playing the game with itself.
The guys you mentioned, like Lindros and Brind'Amour and those guys, first of all, I covered those guys in Philadelphia. I was with that team.
Right.
They made their Stanley Cup run in the late 90s and into 2000. The game was different then, right?
Right.
I mean, it was nighty-night for Lindros in Game 7 when Stevens took him out at the blue line and he was laid there in the fetal position. If you did that now, you'd be done for 6 months. They would cart you off the ice and you'd never be heard from again. So the game has changed, which has really been advantageous to Kane's career. He's a small guy that doesn't get hit very often. It's been impressive to see. I don't think those hands are going away anytime soon.
Right.
Like that, to me, will be the last thing that goes. And as long as he's making those sauce passes like he does seemingly every night, and I honestly think he can play till he's 40 if he really wants. That's the commitment that I have seen from him. And it's not the commitment that we saw necessarily the first, 9 years of his career. It's changed since 2015.
A couple of weeks ago, we had David Kaplan on here. Obviously, you work with him over at ESPN 1000. He's a nice guy. Sometimes he's all right, Mr. Cap. He's an all right guy. But he made a pretty bold statement. he made a pretty bold statement saying by the time it's all said and done that Patrick Kane will be the greatest American-born hockey player of all time. I want to know your feelings on what he said there. Do you think that's the case?
Well, first of all, Cap doesn't have an original thought, so he got that from Eddie Olczyk. We all know that. And he's probably flipped 3 times on it. So, that being said, I do think he will be considered. And I think when you look at the names in that list, it's LaFontaine, it's Roenick, it's Chelios,
Mike Modano.
At the end, I think the fact that Patrick can play till he's 40-ish, I think he's going to clear the point totals, the goal totals, and he's going to have the hardware to boot. So, and the one thing that I found really interesting is that, we go through cycles in all these different leagues where, there's the popular player, whether it's LeBron, then it's Steph, and then it's, whoever, it's on to the next guy.
Right.
If you watched last year's NHL draft, half the 16, 17, and 18-year-olds that are getting drafted, you know who their favorite player is?
Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane. Still. It's insane. So, it's funny. Vinny Hinostroza comes back. He's 27. Vinny had Kane's poster on his wall when he was a kid growing up in Bartlett. I mean, and there's not a huge gap. I mean, there's a 5-year difference in age, but I do think at the end of the day he will be considered. I think he'll be considered the greatest American-born player of all time, and I think he'll be considered the greatest Blackhawk of all time.
Oh, there you go. That's another big statement. You kind of touched on it here a little bit. I am. Colleton, he kind of drives me nuts here a little bit. I don't know what to think about him. Maybe you can sway my mind. I don't know. I think I listen too much of Jay Hood in the morning where he's like, hey, boys, I watch, boys. All right, but I may be listening to a little bit too much of that. But, I mean, he's doing it. He's got this team on the right track and playing good puck going forward. Yeah, they've been sporadic, up and down, but what do you expect with a team with so much youth? What do you think of Colleton, man in the helmet of this Chicago Blackhawks team?
Okay, first of all, love Cap and Jay Hood, but if you're listening for hockey information from 7
Wrong
to 10,
show.
That is not the right show, my friend.
I listen to you every weekend, man.
Yeah,
you're one of my favorite shows.
Colleton, it's a bit. For Hoodie, that's a bit.
Right.
I will say this, and you can go back because I did a podcast when I met Jeremy Colleton in 16-17 after the Hawks had been bounced. I went to Rockford, and we were covering that team as they made their way. They made their way to the Calder Cup semifinals, I think it was. And I walked out with Charlie Romeliotis, our insider, and I was like, that dude is impressive. I walked into the locker room, and I saw their advanced scouting for whoever they were taking on. And I saw the way he handled the media, and I was like, this guy's not long for the AHL. And, I mean, it was Stan's plan. Stan plucked him out of Europe, fast-tracked him in Rockford, and before you knew it, he stepped in. Now, that being said, he stepped into some pretty difficult shoes to fill. I mean, he stepped into a Hall of Fame coach's shoes, the second all-time winningest coach, who can still get it done. His Florida team, they lose Aaron Ekblad, and they're still winning 6 games in a row or whatever. Right. And then he walks into a room where the majority of the guys at that time had only known one way to hear a coach talk for 10 years. That's an eternity in an athlete's life. So he had a lot working against him early on, and they just weren't really good either. There's that. My only question has been in the D zone coverage. He has the philosophy of a man on man. He calls it man and a half on man, where the defenseman kind of follows around the winger, the forward that first comes to their area. And what that can do is if that forward or center takes the D-man to the boards or out of the high danger areas, it can vacate that area. And for the last couple of years, we have led the league in those high danger chances allowed. And that's a recipe for disaster. You can have all the best goaltending you want. You're going to have some off nights. So my biggest question is, do they have the horses to play that? Now, they modified that approach a bit last year where they've allowed kind of one defenseman to kind of stay at home and be a little bit more of a traditional zone situation there. Other than that, I've liked he communicates with the guys. He's a tireless worker. The amount of time this team practices, guys, it's insane. And on days that he does give the veterans off when they're playing every other day, he's with the taxi squad and he's running those guys that are not in Rockford through the paces like he did this morning. There's a lot to like. Look, he's not going to win a news conference. And I know there's like David Kaplan's big on, can you win the news conference? You know what? Matt Nagy wins a lot of news conferences, or he used to. But
he doesn't say, ugh.
Yeah. But it's about winning games. So, Look, I know he's not going to dazzle you. He looks like an accountant, whatever. I don't care. Bill Belichick's not going to, dazzle anybody either. And
he looks like a troll. So yes. I mean, there you go.
Yes. So look, Fat Mike, I've gone up and down as far as the evolution of him, but right now I think they're in pretty solid hands.
And the way I love that you broke it down like that, Pat. I appreciate that, because the way I've been kind of looking at him now over just this last season, where he's keeping this Blackhawks team without Taze, without Doc for a little bit. They've had a bunch of little odds and ends injuries, and they've been in the hunt. He's starting to kind of remind me of like Eric Spoelstra. You know what I mean? That guy that doesn't get the credit because he had all these superstars, but then he goes to the NBA Finals 2 years ago, or last year, whatever it was. You know what I mean? He brought a team there without LeBron, without Dwayne Wade, without Chris Bosh. That's kind of how I'm looking at this guy right now. And I could be completely wrong. I can be way the hell out of left field with this one. But that's the way I'm kind of seeing him now. And I'm glad that you broke it down there for me. I think I'm going to continue on my roll with that little take.
No, I think the other thing, too, is you look at how young he was. I mean, he's still the youngest coach in the league.
Right.
When he got the job, that had to be intimidating. His confidence. Like that was one thing he said after they won in Edmonton. He said, I needed that too for me. And I thought to myself, when do you hear a coach say that? But like, you look at it, you look at how he came into this league, what he was given, the fact that he was taking over for Joel, that he had a room full of guys that had won cups and Hall of Famers left and right. That had to be somewhat intimidating. So I think we talk about player development. I think we've seen some coach development too. So I'd say stick with him. I think this year has proven that his system can work and his approach can work, and that the players respond to him. I still don't think they're an overly talented team. When you've got guys like David Kampf skating with Patrick Kane a couple weeks ago. I mean, Patrick's been in the MVP race, sort of, with Connor, and he's been playing with Pius Suter, Philip Kurashev. Okay, right. Like two rookies. Like, with all due respect, Connor McDavid is out there with Leon Draisaitl, and
completely different story.
Yeah,
right.
He's out there with last year's MVP, and Patrick's out there with the Swiss League MVP.
Right.
That's actually the truth.
So Pat, I have a question. I think it's been on like every Blackhawks fan's mind. Is it safe to say that Jonathan Taves isn't going to be coming back this season?
I think it looks highly doubtful. Just at the amount of time that's left. Right. We've got a month to go until the end of the season, 16 games. If he came back tomorrow, I would assume he would need at least 10 days to 2 weeks to ramp up, and that would leave a couple weeks left in the season. Right. So it's one of the big mysteries. I know you guys have probably heard every rumor.
We've heard every rumor.
Yeah, and so have I, and I've got DMs where he is and this and that. At the end of the day, until Jonathan says whatever is going on with him, I'm going to just kind of stay in my lane. When this is reported, it has to be accurate. Because here's the thing. You guys have heard every different possibility that could be wrong with him, and they're wide ranging, and some of those are absolutely incorrect. So I'm not going to be first with this one. We got to be right with it, and so we're gonna go on Jonathan's terms. The one thing I do find interesting is he been given a longer leash because it's the NHL? Like if this was pick, your star player in the NFL who was going through the exact same situation Johnny is and disappeared and there was really no explanation given, would by now, Peter King or Adam Schefter or somebody unearthed it and reported, hey, this is indeed what it is. It is kind of interesting how he's been given this time to be away, and he's obviously one of the most popular figures in town, and globally he's looked at very highly in the NHL. It's been kind of interesting how long this has gone on.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I like you said, we've heard everything under the sun, and he's been my favorite player in the NHL since. I grew up in the mid '90s, so I've seen a lot of. I didn't see all the hockey guys that all you guys have seen, but Joe Sakic, Steve Yzerman, Sergei Fedorov, Matt Sundin, those guys, those centers, Joe Thornton, who's still one of my favorite centers today. He's been my favorite center in hockey since the Hawks have gotten him, and since the Hawks drafted him. He's been my favorite center. There's a reason why the guy has 3 cups and 2 Olympic gold medals. He's an absolute stud. And I hope nothing but the best for Jonathan Toews. I hope it's nothing of what I've heard thus far. And I miss him because that's one thing that the Hawks have lacked this year.
Yeah,
is their depth.
Imagine if he was with this team. They struggle so much in the face-off circle. That's
just
one
the
of John's
face-off percentage and time of possession alone would be huge.
Everybody would be slotted down one. You wouldn't be bringing Kirby Dach back and maybe putting him with Kane and DeBrincat when he hasn't played, a meaningful hockey game in several months, and now he's facing the shutdown line. Jonathan would open up so many doors there. So I got to think, you saw on Patrick Kane's 1,000th game, we saw the video that Toews took. He looked good there. Again, that's a video, but I know he's watching the games. I hope he likes what he sees, because I hope he sees that you add a bona fide Hall of Famer, a top 100 player of all time to the mix, and bring along some of these young guys. That becomes all of a sudden a pretty scary team.
Oh, definitely. All right, Pat. So after enough hockey with you, man. I know you hit me up late last night, and I hit you up super early this morning. I apologize. I hope I didn't wake you up, man.
No.
We had an interview with Devin Hester earlier on this morning. So I want to get your take on this. You said you love Devin Hester. In your opinion, Devin Hester, should he be a Hall of Famer? Is he a Hall of Famer? And is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Go.
He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. Absolutely a Hall of Famer. I don't understand people who can't give kick returners their due and feel that they should be shut out. And now look, John Jurkovic obviously played the game for a long time. He does not think kindly of kickers, special teams guys, long snappers, kick returners. I say this, in a sport where every Sunday games come down to one possession, Devin Hester has 20 returns for touchdowns.
Yep.
I'm not saying every one of those games was one possession games, but I damn well remember 2006. He had 6 that year. And they were a horribly challenged offensive team with Rex Grossman at the helm. A lot of those 6 They don't win 6 games without him.
Yep.
That is a game changer. That is a what does Belichick always say? Try to take their best player away from them. And nowhere is it more glaring on a kickoff or a punt. You know there's one guy that can beat you. And Tony Dungy, did you guys do talk about the story about the Super Bowl with him?
We did a little bit. Yes, we touched on it just very, very tiny. There was a lot of stuff we had to get into.
All right, so my favorite story about that is all week long Tony was like, we're not kicking to him, we're not kicking to him, we're not kicking to him.
Whoops.
Prayer service Super Bowl Sunday morning, the preacher told some sort of biblical verse that said something to the effect, don't be afraid of your biggest threat, or I'm paraphrasing, I don't know, something of like that. And Tony at that moment said, we're not afraid of him, we're going to kick to him. And we know how that worked out.
Yep.
And by the way, that was one of my favorite moments of all time. Being in Miami, so at that time I was doing Bears postgame live with Jerry Azuma. We had Richard Dent and Dan Jiggins. And so, I remember being in that stadium and seeing him take that back for the score and chest bumping with Azuma thinking the Super frickin' Bowl is coming back to Chicago. And then it was a nightmare, and then it rained, and it just
and
sucked.
then Rex Grossman happened.
And 15-year-old Angelo was heartbroken.
Yes,
I remember. It was a sad day.
We were talking to Devin earlier. I sat there and I told him, I was like, I remember when that happened, and I seriously thought it was fake. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was like a commercial that they started off with, since he was such a monster that year and that season that he had. I thought it was something fake, and and I was like, I couldn't help myself but just scream and throw food and beer everywhere. It was unbelievable.
And think about our entire lives as fans. How many players in Chicago were drop the remote, drop whatever you're doing, and focus?
Yep.
There aren't that many. Like
Nope.
Sammy, for sure. Devin
Yep.
Hester was absolutely. You heard
Peyton.
Soldier Boy in the background.
Yep.
Your eyes, if you were looking somewhere, you were locked on the TV.
There's only been 2 of those in Chicago sports history. Maybe 3 with Peyton, Walter Payton.
Walter Payton. D. Rose in the MVP year, but I don't know. It's.
Oh, Jordan. How are we forgetting
Oh,
Jordan?
yeah, I
Well,
guess
of course,
Jordan,
of course. I mean, yeah. No,
That's a given, Mike.
Right.
goes without saying.
Duh.
And then there was Trubisky a few years ago.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Tampa-
Mike
that
really
Tampa
likes
game.
those years. Mike's a big fan of those years.
Yeah, so
Why?
no,
Why you gotta start that shit, dude? Why you gotta piss me off?
yeah. So I don't get. I mean, where do you guys stand? Do you feel he's a bona fide Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. There's no
Hands
doubt. The NFL
No doubt.
changed the kickoff rule
Yeah.
because of him.
Right.
When you are the best of your position and you change the game, why shouldn't you be in the Hall of Fame? That's just my
And
opinion.
I don't think he'll be first ballot because there's so many people that are anti that.
Right.
Well, screw them. I mean, he'll get in, I believe. It's going to probably take a little bit of time, but I mean, to me, he changed games, and that's what the Hall of Fame is for.
He was unbelievable. I mean, don't forget too. Yeah, he had 20 returns, kick returns, and punt returns combined for touchdowns. But he also caught a few touchdown passes too.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't the greatest wide receiver ever. All right, I'm not going to say that he's out.
We talked about that too, though, in the interview.
I think that hurt him. I think that hurts his case.
Yeah, he even said he's like having different playbooks and stuff like that. It was kind of all over the place. Kind of had me all over the place. He's like, this is what I did, man. He's like, I was a returner. Like, I was the best at my craft, and he hands down was.
No,
and I
no
even
question.
asked him, and then Deion Sanders calls him the greatest of all time. That's pretty high
That's
praise.
high praise.
For Deion Sanders.
Absolutely.
Right.
Did you ask him what PointsBet is paying him? I'm just curious.
I did not. You know what? We should have. Maybe we could kind of slide ourselves on into that. That'd be all right too. That'd be all right.
Next time he's on, Mike, make sure we make note of that.
So
Try to get a little sponsor money on the side.
Yeah. Pat, you also did cover the Bears, like you were saying, like you alluded to earlier. How are you feeling? I mean, to kind of get you off the Hawks again and continue Bears talk, how are you feeling about this Bears team now? How do you like Andy Dalton, baby? Woo!
You know, it's a mess. I just don't have any faith, trust. Look, you don't win championships in professional sports by accident. It just doesn't happen. Right. You got to have it buttoned up. You got to draft well. You got to develop players. You got to be able to call a game. You got to keep the good players on your team. You got to manage the cap. Stop me.
So you literally just said everything the Bears don't do.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's just terrible.
So, like, how could I be optimistic?
To me, it's like, what do you sell the fans at this point? Isn't that your goal as an organization, is to get fans to be excited about the team? There is zero excitement for this team going into next season. None.
That's the one thing, Angelo, that it kind of bothers me about the NFL. Because they're the king, I don't feel like they need to fight for our passion. Right. You know? I think the TV money that comes in takes care of the salaries on the staff or the players, and it's just about how you accumulate more revenue through merchandise or through your luxury boxes or butts and seats.
Right.
And last time I checked, Soldier Field still. I mean, I go to a few games a year, couple here and there, and everybody comes. So it's a tough place to park. It's a tough place to get in and out. The product's usually kind of tough to watch.
The Mai Tais are,
and we still show up. We still show up.
Everyone's still there. So, like, the motivation for them to, that's what, like, when you look at what the Bulls did, it got to the point where fans weren't coming to the United Center, and then it was All-Star Weekend, and they were getting mocked on national television. And that's when they were like, oh, whoa, this isn't acceptable. And they finally cut the ties with Pax and Gar, and I finally think they have a legitimate front office and a good head coach, and they're going in the right direction. I don't have that faith at all with what's going on at Hallis Hall, and I don't know many people that do, to be quite honest with you.
Mike and I have had countless hours of just angry ranting about this organization since really the beginning of last season, and I feel like we could just go on for hours and hours about how inept this whole organization is.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Listen to sports radio. That's been going on for. We got two stations that have been doing that for years. That's their biggest.
Just some of the stuff that they do, it seriously makes my head numb. Like, I mean, I'm sitting here, like, I'm listening to you guys talk, and it's just like,
because you applied it to real life. Like, if I went to NBC Sports Chicago and couldn't speak in a coherent sentence and was giving misinformation wrong about the Blackhawks and bad stats and whatever, I wouldn't have a job.
Right.
And, I think we're just looking for accountability. And, when we see Ted Phillips say, have we got the quarterback position right? No, we haven't. Is everything else in place? Yes. No, Ted.
Yes. What else is there?
And then, hey, I'm not in football operations, but Ryan reports to me and I decide if he has a job or not. Well, then guess what? You're in football operations. In fact, you're in charge of the most important piece in the franchise. So, like, they contradict themselves every time they speak.
Every time.
And you walk away going, okay. Like,
I gotta take some Tylenol after every single press conference.
That is the same exact face I make every time one of them opens their mouth.
Yep.
I'm just like, not alone. Jesus.
Why do we have to end on that?
Way to go. Oh, here, I got one.
Here we go.
Who are your 5 favorite Blackhawks of all time? Boom. That's a better topic.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Okay, Kane for sure. if you couldn't tell by this conversation, huge Kane fan. Taves, certainly. Keith, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I need to go historic, but I mean, I tend to be a prisoner of the moment.
Same.
I'm going to go Stan Mikita for sure. And Marian Hossa.
Nice. That's a good last one. I
miss Marian Hossa so much.
Absolutely.
I miss Marian
That's
Hossa.
it.
Can we get him back, or is he still allergic to equipment?
Yeah, no, he still has that skin. I think this might be his last year, actually, with Arizona on their payroll, believe it or not. And Hinestroza was the sweetener on that deal, and we got him back.
Yes. Score. Score.
There you go.
Pat, we appreciate you coming on, man. How can all my guys follow you? How can we look you up? Where can we listen to you? All that other good stuff. How do we do it?
All right. Boyle NBCS on Twitter and Instagram. And you can hopefully watch Blackhawks pre and post NBC Sports Chicago. We got all the games. And I got a podcast, a Hawks Talk podcast, two of them a week that comes out wherever you get your favorite podcast. And the hockey show on ESPN 1000 every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with Brian Hanley. We have a guest every week, Stan Bowman, Colleton, players, you name it. So we actually talk legitimate hockey for 1 hour on sports radio in Chicago.
I love it. It's about
crazy.
time.
Yeah.
I've been pawing at ESPN Zipper for that for the last decade, and it finally happened.
Be careful with that. HR will call.
Oh, hey, I got one more for you before I.
Mike can just never let him
I'm
go.
sorry.
He's like a fisherman. He's got to dip it one more time in the water.
I know. I'm the absolute worst. If you could, all right, if you could pick one Chicago Blackhawk of all time history to where you can sit there and skate and play puck with, who would it be?
Wow. Interesting. It would be either Savvy or Kane.
Savvy or Kane?
Yeah, because, and that sucks that I didn't mention Savvy in my top 5. That just goes to show you how that's a tough one. I just like their creativity on the ice. I just think those guys are artists. Like, the spinorama and what we watch with those two. So to be on the ice and to be able to experience that, to be on the other end of a Kane sauce pass,
that'd be pretty
or
sweet.
A Savard spinorama. I'd like to see that up close and personal.
Excellent, Pat. Thank you again so much, man. I really do appreciate you coming on with us. It's been a blast, man. I cannot wait to have you on again soon.
All right,
thanks,
enjoy
Pat.
it, guys.
Appreciate it.
Keep up
You
the great
take
work.
care, my man. Be good. Pat Boyle, everybody, coming in here kicking ass for us.
Yep.
How awesome was that?
That was
fantastic.
That was a long interview and very insightful. We talked a bunch of topics, man.
Hey, man, he's covered it all, man. He was out in Philly covering those Philadelphia Flyers teams. That's another team I absolutely hate too, by the way. But it was awesome, man. That was kick ass. Coming out here talking a lot of Blackhawks for us, giving the insight. Hey, man, this team could actually squeak into the playoffs here, and it would be awesome. How cool would that be to see the Blackhawks in with this young group of kids? And
it would be interesting.
Maybe pull another upset.
Yeah, it would be interesting. That's for sure.
I would love that. How sweet would that be? I would love every single second of that. Watching this young team, because you know what? There's one thing about these teams like that, Angelo, and I know that you and I have said this too. When we were talking about it last year when the Sox were about to get into the playoffs, and when in 2009 for me, when the Hawks paired up against the Red Wings and got bounced, they're young and they're dumb enough to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you put them in there, just like last year, the Blackhawks should not have made the playoffs last year. And then somehow, some way, go on out there and knock out the Edmonton Oilers, who were a high favorite in last year's NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, holy moly, man. Like, what the hell happened there? You know what I mean? They're young and they're dumb enough to do it. And that's one thing I absolutely love about this Hawks team is that they have that feistiness. They find a way to put points up on the board. They force that overtime where they get that nitty-gritty, dirty point in the standings. And it's the young talent here, man. It's so much fun watching Kucherov and watching Kane feed Pia Suter. And I could talk hockey all day. You guys know that. All right, you guys absolutely know that. All right, so enough hockey. Thank you again, Pat Boyle. Go out, follow him on Twitter. Listen to his hockey show on ESPN 1000.
The hockey show is really good. It's nice to finally have some time that's just dedicated to what's going on with the Blackhawks.
It's been a long time coming, man. They stopped talking hockey. They never talked hockey. All right, and then finally, when I'm not gonna name names or anything like that. I'm not gonna be that guy. But they finally started bringing hockey into the mix, man, especially Chicago here. They won 3 Stanley Cups. You only heard like a fucking 5-second tidbit of it.
Yep.
All right, it's about time they start talking hockey in this town. I wish they started doing it more often because a lot of people fucking like hockey. All right, so start talking hockey. Jeez.
I think hockey is underappreciated, that's for sure. It's about time, like you said.
Hey, is your phone next to your microphone?
No.
Did you just move it now?
No, I don't have my phone in my hand.
Oh, okay.
My
I was going to
phone's
say
over here.
Something's creating a loud fart noise in my headphones.
Maybe it's just you.
Maybe I'm just constantly passing gas.
Your brain's warped. Your brain's beat.
My
from
brain
today,
is fried.
So
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's the sound of bacon sizzling. I'm pretty sure it's my brain cooking today. All right. So on that note, guys, we do have another great interview with you coming up here. We're going to have to sign out of all this stuff. We're going to drop out, and we're going to play this interview. We did have Devin Hester on with us this morning. And before this interview starts, I do want to give a special thank you out to Shelly Schmidt on hooking us up with this interview. It was an absolute fantastic interview, and I am super excited for you guys to see it. Angelo, looks like you got something to say.
Yeah, don't forget about John and
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't forget about them. Those are my guys. Those are my guys. That interview with Pat Boyle was 100% brought to you by our team, the Jonathan Darren team. Darren. Tomato, potato.
You get the idea.
You got it.
Did you say potato? Potato, that's the same word.
Potato. So our guys over at the John Darren team out in Homer Glen, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group, especially, again, thank you guys for having Pat Boyle come on with us. And again, John Darren. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
And we're back. And here we go. And we're back. Thanks for the John Darren team out there. Again, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group on Homer Glen. They are the best. If you guys are looking to buy a home through those guys because they are hands down the best. And now we're going to try and make this shit show work.
Yeah, let's hope this works.
Hopefully
I'm going to be super, super sad if this interview does not work.
If not, guys, if this does not work, I know that we're live right now. We're just sitting here talking a lot of shit. If this does not work, look in the next half an hour because I'll just post the interview straight up on YouTube. I mean, I'm not going to dick around with it. I'm not going to mess around with it.
Literally, when we say Mike's been trying to get this to go since the interview ended, we're not kidding. So that was 11:30 that interview ended?
11:30.
And it's 8 o'clock right now. So
I'm 2 packs of cigarettes through from 11 o'clock. So, I mean that's no exaggeration, guys. So I'm going to try and get this going for you guys.
All right. I'm going to back out.
I'll be able to watch in the comment section. Let me know if it sucks. And I'll just try and write it out. I'll do one more quick little thing to see if it uploads right. and hopefully it works. Angelo,
I'm gonna jump out. I'll jump back in when it's over. Hopefully,
I will see you on the other side, girlfriend. All right, now Angelo's out. Here we go. I'm gonna try and set this up the right way here, guys. It's gonna take me just a couple seconds. Just give me 1 minute to get this thing going here. I gotta click a bunch of cool buttons. It's so much fun. You guys don't even understand. And click the audio. Click this button. Click share. Now you should see my fat head over here in the corner. And here we go. Sharing this screen. Sweet. Awesome. Now I'm frozen a little bit, but let's see. This button. And now I'm hitting this button. And then now I'm hitting this button. And then now I'm hitting this button. I'm going to hang out here and kind of freeze my screen and let you guys watch. I hope you guys enjoy this interview with Devin Hester. Let me know if it sucks, guys. Let me know if it sucks. I'll be in the comments. So here we go. Here, we're hitting play. All right, Angelo. So now it's that time, man. We have our major guest, absolutely huge guest for the show.
The biggest guest that we've had on thus far.
This far over here at 1252 Sports, man. And I am super pumped up to have this guy on here. The human highlight reel, Devin Hester. And really quick before we get to this interview, guys, here's something for all you guys to watch.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
Yeah. I could use a dream or a genie or a wish to go back to a place much simpler than this. Cause after all the partying and smashing and crashing, and all the glitz and the glam and the fashion, and all the pandemonium and all the madness, there comes a time where you fade to the blackness. And when you're staring at that phone in your lap, and you hoping but them people never call you back. But that's just how the story unfolds. You get another hand soon after you fold. And when your plans unravel in the sand, what would you wish for if you had one chance? So airplane, sorry I'm late. I'm on my way, so don't close that gate. If I don't make that, then I switch my flight, and I'll be right back at it by the end of the night.
That airplane in the night sky like shooting stars. I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
Yeah. Somebody take me back to the days before this was a job, before I got paid, before it ever mattered what I had. Yeah, back when I was trying to get it to that Subway. And back when I was rapping for the hell of it. But nowadays we rapping to stay relevant. I'm guessing that if we can make some wishes out of airplanes, then maybe I go back to the days before the politics that we call the rap game. And back when they know mixtape. In fact, before I tried to cover up my slang, but this is for Decatur, what's up, Bobby Ray. So can I get a wish to end the politics and get back to the music that started this shit? So here I stand, and then again I say, I'm hoping we can make some wishes out of airplanes.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
I could really use a wish right now, right now. I could really use a wish right now, right now. Like shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now. A wish right now.
Well, if I didn't have goosebumps before, I definitely have them now.
I know, man. I'm super pumped about this. And let's welcome on our very special guest, Mr. Devin Hester, Mr. Number 23, Mr. Human Highlight Reel. Here he is. Devin, welcome to the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show and 1252 Sports, man. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for coming on here with us. I know I'm not only speaking on myself or behalf of myself, but Angelo as well. You are one of our hands-down favorite Chicago Bears players of all time, and it is an absolute honor to have you on our show tonight. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy day and hopping on with us tonight, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
I'm super stoked, man. I'm super stoked.
Let's just dive in, Mike. Right? Let's just dive in. Right? Let's do
it.
We have a bunch of questions for you.
We're gonna grill you, Devin. We're gonna grill you here. And you're repping the head as it is right now, man. Your time in Miami was some of the best college football that I've ever watched in my entire life, man. Especially your sophomore season, you had a couple picks, you had a couple touchdowns. It was great. Your junior year came out slaying it again. What was it being a part of some of them historic, nationally known Miami Hurricane teams?
At the time when I was playing, Miami was pretty much one of the number one teams, like the Alabama is right now, the Clemson right now. Miami was on top of the world. You know what I mean? Every kid in America wanted to go to Miami. I was blessed to have an opportunity to get a full ride there, and just to play at that school, man, was pretty much an honor. But not only to be able to play, but then go out and perform and make plays was just icing on the cake.
Go ahead, Angelo.
No, I remember watching some of those Miami teams, and it was just that was a stacked lineup. Mike and I went through the roster a little bit ago, and there was just some great players, yourself included. So the draft, 2016, drafted by the Chicago Bears, second round, 57th pick overall. What was it like to hear your name be called and then walk up on that stage as a Chicago Bear?
It was an honor, you know what I mean? It was just, for me, it was a long process in the draft. I did feel like I should have went a little earlier, but, things happened and it didn't go the way that I planned. And, at that time, I was just happy for anybody to call and give me the opportunity to play football.
Now, in college, you played defensive back, and coming up being drafted by the Chicago Bears, that's where they had slated you to begin with, and they moved you over to wide receiver. And I'm sorry, Angelo, I know I'm stealing one of your questions. But how difficult was that transition for you to become defensive back, cornerback, transition to wide receiver, and then punt returner, kick returner, which we knew that you did in college as well? How difficult was that transition from cornerback to wide receiver?
For me, it was very difficult because it was a position I played before. You know what I mean? And to play it at the highest level, you know what I mean? It's, once you come to the league, you pretty much played your whole life. You know what I mean? Whether you're quarterback, linebacker, that's what you did in Part 1. That's what you did in high school. That's what you did your whole career in college. You know what I mean? And for me to switch over from that, I didn't even play receiver in Part 1, or not alone high school. You know what I mean? So to switch over at the highest level, it was very difficult. You know what I mean? It was very frustrating at times because, I didn't know the basis of being a wide receiver. I didn't know the proper stance. I didn't know which foot put up. Like, things like that, you know, and you learn in college. I wasn't in a receiver room in college or high school. So those things I had to learn on the fly as well as learning the playbook. And not only to point out the playbook, but, my years in Chicago, I think I went through maybe 6 different offensive coordinators.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I had to learn a new playbook a year, you know what I mean? And some of the things that you pick up, though, it was a brand new position for me, you know what I mean? So after that time, I was learning it because it was just something new for me, and I had to learn on the fly.
Right.
That's a good point. We've talked to a couple other guys who were on your teams back then with all those offensive coordinators. How difficult is it when there's that much constant change, not just for your position, but for a team as in general, for an offense?
It's very tough because you learn different terminologies. It could be a totally different offensive play because you have different types of playbooks. You have the number system, and you have terminology, which is words and things like that, where you just say like stick or something like that, and that's the whole name of the play. Or you can have 666. You know what I mean? So you have different types of playbooks. So back and forth, you know what I mean, throughout my years.
Hey guys, I'm back for a quick second here. I'm going to try switching up one thing to where it's not so choppy for you guys. Just give me 1 second. Please stay in. I'll be right back with everything. Just give me 1 quick second, okay? I'm going to try and redo this to where you guys can actually enjoy watching this thing as well as listening to it. So here we go. Just
You know what I mean? It was all types of playbooks that were thrown at me. You know what I mean? So in my situation, I was always the one that was struggling it because I didn't know the basics of a wide receiver. So coming in and just saying, here come 10 plays, we're gonna run a day. You know what I mean? I had to know which side to be on. You know what I mean?
Right.
For those guys, half the stuff there they didn't have to look at. But for me, look at everything from page 1 all the way to page 500.
Especially in a Mike Martz offense, correct? Yeah, I'm sure. Exactly. I'm sure. So, I mean, obviously, okay. I mean, I wanted to know that question just for our future kid. Like, I know that there's some kids that listen to our show and stuff like that. I know personally, my one buddy that I babysat him throughout his entire life. He is now playing defensive back and wide receiver through a local high school out here. He just made JV on his team as a freshman, so he's super pumped up about that. So that's the main reason why I asked that one question, Devin.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you're known for here in Chicago, man, and throughout all of the NFL is you being a human highlight reel here in Chicago. I mean, to go over. I mean, I don't mean to make you blush, okay? But I mean, 14 punts, 5 kickoffs, 1 missed field goal touchdown. You have a special team return touchdowns. You got 20 career touchdowns on returning touchdowns, 1 especially in the Super Bowl. And did you know – I wanted to ask you this question, Devin. Did you know that you have the fastest touchdown in Super Bowl history at 14 seconds?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, damn. I thought I was going to surprise you with that one. I thought I was going to get you on that one.
No.
It gets blowed up every year in Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I actually went to 3 or 4 Super Bowls and only watched the opening kick and left. So it's a record that still stands to this day. And a week before the Super Bowl, it gets so.
Go ahead, Angelo. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say one of my personal all-time favorite memories as a Bear is that opening kickoff of the Super Bowl. I know my question, Mike. I'm gonna steal yours here.
Go ahead.
I was just curious, what was that feeling like when you crossed the goal line after you ran that back to open the Super Bowl?
Just to prove a lot of, you know what I mean, I had a lot on my shoulder, you know what I mean, from just coming into the NFL, you know what I mean. This guy here has no position, and you don't know where to put him. And then just playing that Super Bowl, and then just the talk up to that game, you know what I mean. The whole 2 weeks of process of us getting prepared for Super Bowl, knowing that, you know what I mean, one of the biggest questions was if the Bears win the coin toss, would the first play be an opening touchdown from a kickoff return? So it was talked about, you know what I mean, and for me to go out and actually do it, you know what I mean, it was just a dream come true as a kid that actually played in South Florida, and to be able to, you know, their first year in the NFL, be able to run an open kickoff back in their hometown, you know what I mean? That was just a great honor, you know what I mean? I can't help but, you know what I mean, have that as one of my best moments of my life, you know what I mean? Just having the opportunity to take one back.
Yeah, absolutely. That also led to one of my favorite Madden commercials of all time. Is your Madden commercial? That's one of my favorite ones of all time.
Appreciate it, man.
Speaking of Madden, all right, you were the very first player in the Madden franchise game history to have a speed rating of 100. That had to be an honor, right? No?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know what I mean? Madden never went over 100. You know what I mean? Every time you created yourself in Madden, you can only go up to a 99. So for me to have an opportunity to break that spell, you know what I mean, and to hit the 100 mark, it was an
That's our guy, Devin Hester, 100 speed rating. I always felt like I was, and I'm sorry, Devin, I don't mean to kind of cut you out of the questions here, but I always felt like I was cheating when I drafted Devin Hester as my number 1 overall pick, because I knew I was going to run 7 of them back to the house every single year. Like, honestly, I'm that idiot, Angelo. I would sit there, I'd be like, Devin Hester, I don't need a quarterback. I'll take some guy that's coming out as a rookie. I'm taking Devin Hester. He's
just
my
punt
guy.
the ball every time and then hope that we get it back. Yeah,
exactly. So, Devin, in all those years here in Chicago, I know that you had a stint with Baltimore, you had a stint with Atlanta, you had a stint with Seattle. Devin, your game followed you everywhere you went, where you were that type of chaotic player, where you caused chaos on the field when returning kicks, returning punts for touchdowns. You were a point guy. In your opinion, Devin, what made you so dynamic and so good? Was it the speed? Was it the versatility? Was it the vision? What was it? What made you so good?
I would say it had to be in the vision. It's a combination. It works together. You can't have one or the other. Like, it's one of them type of tools where you can flip it over and use the other side. The vision is something that you can't coach. I learned that a long time ago. You either have it or you don't. And the speed, you know, it's something that you can train for, but again, it's more of a genetic thing. You know, everybody's not blessed to be fast. Some people have to work to get decent speed, and some people just go out and just outrun everybody without even training. So, like I say, it was all given, God-given talent, and it allowed me to play and to perform the way I did.
Yeah, Devin. So obviously, the NFL changed the kickoff return spot yardage. A lot of people say it had to do because of you and how effective you were at returning kickoffs. What was your thought when the NFL decided to make that change?
It was my coach, Dave Toll, which is in Kansas City, mentioned it to me maybe like a month before it came out. And he brought me in his office and he explained to me this is what the NFL is trying to do. He said out of 32 teams, we're the only team that's not with this rule. You know what I mean? And then, you know, a couple of coaches brought it up to the meeting and said, hey, we don't want to kick the Devin Hester, so we want to change the rule. And so, like I say, all other teams agreed upon it. You know, the Bears was the only ones that wasn't pleased about it, but so we got outvoted.
Yeah. When you were sitting waiting back for a kickoff or a punt return, did that thought ever cross your mind where it's like, man, what are you, stupid, kicking me the ball? Like, did that ever cross your mind? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like, you know, I'm the best at this, the best ever at this, right?
Yeah, most definitely. You know what I mean? Especially when we had the special team backed up. You know, it was just, I felt like whenever we had our opponents backed up where they had to kick it, I just felt like 99% of the time I was going to take it back.
Well, I remember, like, and to kind of allude what we were talking about earlier, I I remember sitting there in 2006 during the Super Bowl, right? I'm sitting there on my couch in my mom and dad's living room, and the kickoff happens. You get the ball, and you take it back, and I swear to myself, I'm dying if I'm lying, man. I swear to God, all right? I thought it was something that they hyped up before the game even started. Yeah. I thought it was like a commercial highlight reel. Uh-huh. I'm like, there's no way that literally just happened. And then I was like, yes. I was all pumped up. Like, I couldn't believe it. That was one of my all-time favorite moments of you being a Chicago Bear, man. In your NFL career, and like you said, it's one of your favorite moments as well. Outside of scoring all the returns and all these punt returns for touchdowns, what is your favorite play that you were a part of?
I would say my rookie year when we played against Arizona.
Where Denny Green went nuts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much that game there really solidified our season that year. The way we fought back and pulled that game out. And of course that punt return that really
pissed off Denny Green.
Made everybody go bananas, man. That game there alone just really was, I say, one of the best ones I ever played in.
Yeah, best defense, best special teams. That team was special, man. That 2006 team. So I had a question for you, Devin, about what's coming up for you, hopefully later on, involving the Hall of Fame. A lot of people think that special teams people shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I personally am not one of them. Me and Mike agree on that it's ridiculous. If you're the best at what you do, you should be recognized for it. What would you say to those people who think that somebody who's just a quote unquote special team specialist shouldn't be inducted in the Hall of Fame?
I think if it allows you to win a ball game, right? If it's a key factor in the game, if you play against team and the success and the key to winning this game is not letting them take a punt or kickoff back, whoever that person is, you keying in on it. All right, that's your game plan. If they don't take one back, that person must be very, very special. So I feel like the return, when it comes to a special team and punt return, the kickoff return, if a team has to focus or pinpoint on one specific phase, then they should be listed in the greatest of all time. And in my situation, I felt like I did things that probably would hopefully never be done before, or has never been done before. I feel like when you look at the Hall of Fame, you look at the guys not only in that position, but game changers, who changed it. Really, you know what I mean? Like, who was that player that said, "Man, I want to mimic him," or the coaches are thinking, "I want to draft a guy like him in the future." You know what I mean? So in my situation, I feel like I do deserve a spot and can. At the end of the day, I do feel like you say, you don't really pick guys as Hall of Famers at position. You pick at who changed the game, who was the impact of the league, whatever position. If it's a long snap, if he long snaps the ball perfect every single time and never made a mistake, he was the best at it that ever was, then I feel like he deserves a shot in the Hall of Fame, because you have over 20, 30 receivers that's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Like, you're going to just keep piling up receivers, our quarterback. Like, you just go, okay, he's the 30th best quarterback, so he deserves the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? He's the 48th best running back, so he deserves the Hall of Fame. No, you go off the best that ever did it.
Yep.
Right.
And so you look at my situation when you say he's the best that ever did it, number one
ever,
then he deserves a shot. He deserves a spot.
Yep.
And you are the best. This is not my opinion. It's fact at this point, Devin. You are the best that isn't. And the day that you're inducted into the Hall of Fame, I know my fat ass will be there with that big sign saying Devin number one, baby. I'll be there when you're inducted.
Right. Appreciate it, man.
You said the best that ever done it, which is also a term for GOAT, the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
it's been thrown around. People are sick of hearing GOAT and stuff like that. But I got a fun question for you, kind of off topic. Who's the best number 23 in Chicago sports history, you or Jordan?
I like Jordan, man. I like Jordan. I like Jordan because, man, Jordan was able to win championships, man. He had, 6 or 7 of them?
Six.
So, man, I mean, you can't compete with nobody like that. Like I say, that's like right now, Tom Brady, like it's going to be a first ballot. You know what I mean? You just can't see. Now, here we go. Now you have the 1 or 2 or 3 best quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. What happened when he's up? He's number 1 now. You know what I mean? So, in my situation, man, that's why I wear this chain. I don't know if y'all can see the GOAT right there.
It's a GOAT. I see. That's another reason why I asked the question.
Yeah, man. So I feel like I'm the best, man. So whenever you have the best to ever do it, man, he deserves the spot.
You definitely are the best to ever do it. And really quick, we have another quick. I got another quick one for you. I watched an interview not too long ago. What was with you and Deion Sanders?
Okay.
What was your feeling when when Deion Sanders called you the greatest returner of all time? How was that? Because before you, it was Deion. Deion was the man.
Right.
And then he comes out and straight up says, hey, Devin Hester is the greatest to ever do it. What was that feeling that you had over your body, over what you were thinking?
It's because when players at high caliber pretty much let it be known that, hey, it takes a lot of pride, you know what I mean, as players, you know what I mean, say, nah, he's better than me, or nah, he's faster than me. As players, we all have egos. So to have a player like that and his stage of his life and what he's done so far in the NFL, it's a great honor. I even seen a video of Dante Hall, you know what I mean? And they opened up the video saying that, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest returner of all time, Dante Hall. And he stopped right away. He said, no, I'm not the greatest. Devin Hester is the greatest, but I'm considered one of the greatest. Like that's I texted him and I told him I really, really respect you for saying that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That takes a lot. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, real recognize real. You know what I mean? So I tip my head off to those guys and I appreciate the compliment and the honor that they shouted out to me. But hey, at the end of the day, you got to go off facts and what's real and what's not, and be honest with yourself. And if a person is real with themselves, then they can, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Say the right things.
Yep. I got one more for you, Devin.
Go ahead.
We talked about the Hall of Fame. What would it mean to you personally? You know, all your goals, aspirations when you first came into the NFL. What would it mean to you to be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
It would mean a lot. You know what I mean? It's when you think about the Hall of Fame, you think about the greatest players that ever played the game of football. And the guys that made the Hall of Fame deserve to be in there. It's no doubt in my mind. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be picked if they didn't deserve, because it goes through a lot of process of making the Hall of Fame. I do feel like the players need more input on the Hall of Fame. You know, I feel like that's where you get the true honesty from another Hall of Fame. Like, okay, he deserves it. You know what I mean? He deserves it. So I feel like making the Hall of Fame would really, really, really solidify my career, and it would mean a lot to me.
That's awesome, man. In your eyes, I got a couple more for you, Devin, if you got the time, man. I know you're a busy guy. I know you're super busy. I just got a couple more popping off for you. In your eyes, like you were just alluding to, in your eyes, who are the top 3 returners of all time?
Brian Mitchell. Josh Cribbs.
You gonna leave yourself out of this conversation?
I'm saying besides me.
Oh, okay. Besides you, okay.
Yeah, Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders. I'd say it's a pretty awesome list, man.
Yeah.
I'd say it's an excellent list. So now my favorite return is only because, listen, I'm a diehard Bears fan. As much as I hate the Bears because of what's going on currently, we're not gonna dive into that. It's only gonna make me upset, Devin.
It does. It makes him very upset.
My favorite return of all time that you had outside of the Super Bowl one was that one on Monday Night Football in Chicago versus the Packers,
Oh,
and I loved that you did the Bears leap into the stands. Screw the Lambeau leap, baby.
Yeah,
You full blown went for it, and I know that was what's going what was going through your mind at that point, and I loved it, man. So I want to say thank you for that, dude. That was awesome. Oh my God, I was sitting there clapping super loud, going nuts. Food's going everywhere, booze is going everywhere. Thank you for that.
No problem, man.
That was the best. So I just want to say thank you for that too. Also, I wouldn't be doing myself any justice without mentioning up my buddy Greg Braggs.
Okay.
I know that you know Greg Braggs. He said he's given you a couple hype videos that he has personally made for you. He wants to give you a big, nice hello.
That's
and
what's up, right?
he's like, listen, man. He's like, Devin Hester's my favorite. I was actually going to have him on the show today with us here doing our show, but unfortunately he had to work. So he just wanted to say what's up.
Okay.
And so give him a shout out. That'd be kick ass. And then I want to talk a little bit about what you got going on after this last question here.
Okay.
Of all time throughout your college career and through your NFL career, who is your favorite teammate? Because you've played with a bunch of superstars up and down, especially in Miami, in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Seattle. You've been in Baltimore. You've played with some top-end, high-caliber, top-notch teammates. Who's your favorite thus far? Who's your favorite in your career?
I would probably have to go back to my high school days, and it would be probably my best friend today. His name is Leroy Nelson. We stay maybe 3 minutes from each other. You know what I mean? It's a guy that I grew up with and just been around for forever. You know what I mean? It became pretty much my little brother now. So a lot of people, everybody really don't know him, but to me, he's my favorite teammate, man. I got to tip my head off to this guy. You know what I mean? Been there since thick and thin, and he's my guy.
Been there since day one. Your best bud, right? That's awesome. That's dude, and that kicks ass, Devin. That's awesome. Yeah. So I go ahead, Angelo. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say before we finish up, I was gonna ask Devin like, what's he been up to?
Well, yeah,
after football. You know what I mean? Right. And I know we discussed your shirt a little bit before we started the interview. What kind of stuff have you been doing after football?
So pretty much, I've been volunteering myself, coaching, which is my wife hates it. She hates it. It's a lot of time in it. You know what I mean? So my middle son is plays football, and he's mini me. So I've been coaching for like the last 4 years now, coaching his team up. And it's been a joy. Like for me, I know, like for me, my last 2 years of the NFL, like I didn't feel the excitement and the adrenaline like I did the previous years of the joy of playing football. My last 2 years, so that's why I knew it was kind of time for me to let it go. But the moment I started coaching and that passion that I had playing, coaching him and watching the games and doing it, the passion came back. So it's like, for me, that's my recharge button for me. Awesome. It's football. And so that's why I do it.
That's excellent. The fire got rekindled, I guess.
And as a parent myself, my son starts T-ball here in the next couple of weeks. Okay. I'm excited. I'm going to be one of the assistant coaches on the team. So, something about watching your kids succeed is always a proud dad moment.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So who's going to be better? Who's going to have the better career, your son or you?
He do. Hopefully he do.
Awesome.
Right now.
Awesome.
And I know that you were recently up here in Libertyville and on Chicago side of everything with Rashid. What exactly was going on up there? What happened?
Oh, that was actually one of my football teams.
Excellent. Give us a little insight on that. So what'd you guys do?
I brought my team up just to really to give some of the kids the experience of just being we actually got a chance to go to the facility, to walk around the facility, and I actually made it our presentation and passed out the jerseys in the team meeting room. So that was an honor for the kids just to see the facility of Chicago Bears, the NFL team, but not only that, but to present the kids their jerseys in the meeting room, and got an opportunity for the kids. Some of the kids that probably would never travel until they get off to college and stuff like that. The opportunity to get on the plane, see what it feels like to be on the plane, and to actually get an opportunity to play another team from another state. And we did put a pretty good whooping on them. And but just to have our kids come out and see a different culture and a different environment of how other kids are raised and where they come from, and just to be involved in another city was a great honor for the kids to experience.
That's excellent.
That's
and
awesome.
I know that you're a big hometown guy. You're a big charitable guy. What are some of the charities and stuff that you guys got going on for some of the youth?
So for me, it's just volunteering my time. I actually I came out with a new rule this year. It's called the Devin Hester Scholarship. And so it's more so like, you know how colleges where you know what I mean, you give an opportunity to give a kid a chance to come to go to college. And so for me, growing up, I experienced being around a bunch of kids that was great athletes, you know what I mean, and probably was better than me. But when it was time to sign up for football, there's nowhere to be found.
Right.
And I sat back and I couldn't understand, like, why is this kid so good in the playground? Like, can't nobody stop him. But when it's time to, sign up for a recreation center, he's not around. You know what I mean? He would dominate out here. So I sat down and said, you know what? Majority of kids' parents can't afford it. Can't afford the registration fee. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. This is my first year. And I just did it maybe like 3 weeks ago. Say, I'm gonna come up with a solution where them 4 or 5 kids don't get left out no more. So I'm coaching a team, which is an 8 youth age group. And I said, you know what? I'm going to donate 5 scholarships for registration fees, for their cleats, for their gloves, and I'm going to personally put in a visor for them to put on their helmet, you know what I mean, to come out and play football. You know what I mean? Because I don't want them to be sitting on the side and going to school and talking to their friends, and they tell them they got a game this week, and those kids knowing they can play and not able to play because they parents couldn't afford the registration fee. So that's what I'm doing now.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome, Devin. You are not only are you a future Hall of Famer, but you are also a great humanitarian.
Yep.
And I'm sure those kids appreciate it. I know we appreciate it here. Thank you so much for all the time that you gave us here tonight, Devin.
One more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Devin, what would you say to a young Devin Hester coming out of college? Kid really coming out of college or looking to get into the NFL, who people may have doubt, they doubt, is this kid going to translate? What would you say to them?
Surround yourself by the people that want you to succeed. Surround yourself by great people and separate yourself from the negative. Because if you buy into the negativity, then you start thinking it. When you're around people that think positive and talk positive things happen.
Awesome.
Devin, it was our pleasure having you on here with us, man. And hopefully we can do it again soon. I loved having you, my friend. It was absolutely awesome. You are the best. And Devin,
honor, Devin.
Angelo, play the clip really quick.
You want me to play it?
We got Devin Hester.
All right. Before he leaves.
Before you leave, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Devin Hester, you are ridiculous.
All right.
I had to throw it in there, man. That is thrown around here in the city of Chicago
all the time,
like crazy, and it's still one of my all-time favorite moments. And again, man, thank you so much for coming on with us. It's greatly appreciated, man. We can't wait to have you back on.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Devin.
You take care, brother.
All right.
All right, I think I'm back in here now. Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here.
Hey!
Here's Angelo. I think he's coming up here too. All right. Hey, we're back. Yay! And we're back. All right. So that was our interview with Devin Hester. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about the lag. At least the audio was good.
Mike's
for you.
internet
Maybe I was
sucks.
in there talking
Let's
with
blame
you
it on
guys.
him.
All right. Trying to make sure. My internet. I don't know what happened, man. I have no idea what happened lately. It used to be good.
Maybe somebody's hacking into your Wi-Fi.
Now it's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's not like all the weird stuff I look at, because that's all the stuff on my phone. Like when I apply for credit cards and stuff like that, I don't keep that on my computer. My computer is strictly for this. To get your mind out of the gutter, would you please Sweet Pete.
With you, it's always in the gutter. What are you talking about?
What? Listen, I am a respectable human being.
We've changed. The Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show is no longer going to be vulgar and unprofessional. We're strictly professional.
Right, strictly.
Here on this
we ask the tough questions here. We ask the tough questions here. Like Devin, what's your favorite touchdown return?
That was a good one.
That was a good one. But yeah, that was our interview with Devin Hester, guys. And again, thank you again to Devin Hester for coming on in here and hopping in with us and chatting with us. Pretty much, I mean, he spent almost an hour with us this morning, which was absolutely phenomenal. Having him here, come in here, talking about the Miami days, talking about all his glory days with the Chicago Bears throughout the NFL, and now what he's doing recently, what he's doing now, coaching his son and going up playing Rasheed Davis in Libertyville and doing all the other cool stuff. It was a really good interview. And the cool thing about Devin Hester, Angelo, I mean, I got this from him too. Super humble dude, man.
Yeah, definitely. I really like what he's doing with the Devin Hester scholarship. Is cool.
Yeah,
helping some kids who, unfortunately, some parents can't afford to send their kids to, hockey or football or baseball, and that's awesome of him to think about that and to want to help those kids.
Right. No, it's absolutely phenomenal, man. What he's doing down there and what he's doing, in his home state of Florida, it's fantastic. It really is. It's one of those things where you always hope that those guys can find the time to do stuff like that for the less fortunate, and he's doing that. And that's right. It really is. It's something that's really cool. And when I said that he's not only a future Hall of Famer, but he's also a great humanitarian, I really meant that, because that's something that not a lot of people do. No. He has the time, he has the money, he has the funds to do something like that, and that's really awesome that he does do that. So, I mean, I got nothing else more to say about Devin Hester. I got nothing but good things to say about the guy. So it sucks that he left the Chicago Bears.
Now you fangirled hard in that interview.
I did. You
fangirled hard. I think I held it together pretty good. I think you fanned a little bit harder than me, but hey, I've been doing this for a whole 9 months now, so it's I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, I fangirled a little bit.
No, it's cool. Lie. I fangirled before the interview when you were getting shit together. I fangirled with him when Alan and I were talking to him, and that's maybe why my fangirlism was not showing
so predominant.
Right? Yes.
Well, I mean, you still look like a fangirl now, though. So that's what
I'm always a fangirl for Devin, man. Dude, that dude, I'm not even kidding. I had 3 Bears jerseys in my life. I told you about this earlier. Walter Payton, Brian Urlacher, Devin Hester. That's it. Funny that none of those were quarterbacks, but Hester was just like PB said earlier. Name a Chicago athlete who, when it was their turn to get the ball, to swing a bat, to shoot, where you just stopped to watch.
Yep.
And he was one of those. He just, anytime he got the ball, the game could change.
Right. No, definitely 100%, man. I mean, he was one of those guys. Every kickoff you didn't miss, every punt return you did not miss. He was one of those type of guys, and he was the best. He's the best of the best, man. Plain and simple. In our eyes, I mean, it's not just me; it's you as well. Definitely, Pat Boyle even said it too. Should be a Hall of Famer. He should be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. He is a Hall of Famer.
Yep, absolutely. I decided to wear a couple of my junk bands tonight. I'm really hoping to get sponsored by them. This one is Devoted, Involved, Loving Father. That's what it says.
There you go.
Devoted, Involved, Loving Father, which I am. So, thought it was appropriate.
There you go.
I waited till after the guests to put this headband on, per request from you and Alan.
Right.
But I'm really pushing there. I'd like that junk band. I got a bunch of them. Hey, Sport Court needs some loving.
Yeah, Sport Court needs some loving.
That's right.
Get yourself a DILF headband. Sport Court needs some loving.
It's dedicated or devoted, involved, loving father.
Yeah.
Dilf.
Yeah. Dilf. Yeah. Well, whatever, dude. But more power to you, man. I hope you
Oh,
land.
shit. I just dropped my phone.
All right. On that note, guys, that concludes our show tonight. Special thank you. Oh, shit. That doesn't conclude our show
No,
tonight.
you almost forgot.
I did. I almost did forget. Guys, really quick, that interview was brought to you guys by Nick and Ivy Brewing Company out in Lockport, Illinois. Make sure you guys go there, drink all their beers. They have a really good beer. And actually, we're going to be doing a live remote show there, Angelo.
Yeah.
Yay! Where Fred Hubner and David Schuster will be joining us on that location, hanging out with us on Sunday, April 18th. Everything's going to kick off there around 4:30 with the show. Before that, I know that they're partner up with a local really awesome pizza place. And then not only that, but also a cigar hut. So if you guys like cigars, you guys like booze, be at Nick and Ivy's on Sunday, April 18th by no later than 2 o'clock. Hang out, drink a bunch of beer, have a bunch of cigars, eat a bunch of pizza, get fat, sassy, and drunk, and listen to some sports talk because that's what we're going to be there for.
They'd be just like
time.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sassy.
We're going to have another raffle again. We're going to do the split the pot again. And like I said, David Schuster and Fred Hubner are going to be there. So it's going to be a really great time. And make sure you guys tune in this coming up week as David Schuster and Les Grobstein and Schuster Express kicks off. And then also Fred Hubner's Hubes, Views, and Brews. He's going to be talking about a lot of sports and a lot of beer, guys. But really quick, all of what I just said is brought to you by our guys over at Nick and Ivy. And here is a word from those guys.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Every time I hear that little commercial, dude, at the end of there, I'm always like Nikivy brewing.com. Like I make my own like little jingle to it, and I sit here and like do like some stupid.
I know that they're watching.
Yeah.
So there you go, the jingle man right here.
Yeah.
That's your next commercial. Fat with the jingle.
Brewing.com. Gulp and just like slam two beers like Stone Cold.
I like it.
But yeah, not only that though, make sure you guys are keeping in the loop. We got a great show coming up Friday on Turtles Takes. It's going to be a really good show. Vince and Tarbell are back again this weekend. They got a big show. They're going to be talking a bunch of stuff. They're going to be talking football, baseball, basketball, and some WrestleMania.
With a special guest host.
With a special guest host, and his name is Fat Mike. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be guest hosting. Angelo Ace Camacho will be hopping on there as Sport Court. Hopping on there with those guys. It'll be a great time. And there is a potential very, very, very cool guest to talk about WrestleMania stuff. So keep your phones on the Twitter machine to where you guys can find out who that is. So on that note, guys, I got nothing else for you. Angelo, I want to fucking go to bed, bro.
I just got one more thing.
What? You goddamn right he is ridiculous. He is unbelievable. Such a great night. I want to give a special thank you again to everybody. To Pat Boyle for staying on way longer than he should have. I'm gonna text him immediately as soon as we're done. Be like, Pat, sorry that I kept you so long, bro. You probably hit my guts and you're never gonna.
Can you text me that you kept me too long too, or what?
Yeah, eat a dick. And I'm gonna hit up Devin, Hester, and Shelly Schmidt. Tell them thank you again, guys. Thank you, Pat, Devin, Shelly. You guys are the best. The John Durin team over at Homer Glen, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group.
Nick and Ivy.
Thank you for sponsoring this shitty, terrible podcast each and every single week. And then Nick and Ivy Brewing Company, you guys, all you guys are the best. I love you guys. And on that note, I'm out of here, man. What else you got? You got anything else?
I got to hit the hay.
Yeah, I got to go to bed too. I'm tired. I got to go have a few more beers.
Just end the show.
Would you? Don't tell me what to do.
Lights off.
Listen, this is ridiculous. Oh, and let's thank Alan, too. Alan helps out a bunch.
Nah, forget Alan. He gets enough praise.
Yeah, he does.
I'd like some feedback on if you guys like my new mic, too. I still have my old one, but I just got this
getting
one.
Weird feedback. I think it's from your mic. I think your phone may be too close to your mic or that metal plate in your head or your fillings. One of the three.
Maybe my glasses.
It could be. Could be.
Just end the
We'll
show.
try it out again next week. Yeah, we're out of here. All right, I don't want to talk to you anymore either.
Good night.